Hi, it's Annie Salas from Tech Talk Cafe, here with you on a chilly afternoon in Philadelphia. I want to just dive right into our digital divide to digital done. Some very, very important quick information for you about how to get yourself launched and putting all the pieces together of what I call the 5 technical clusters that any of us who are online business owners really need to have to move things forward and to, be able to do that in a hands-on way. And if we're working with personal assistants, that's great, but you need to be able to know what you want them to do, and you need to be able to know how and if things are tracking. Okay, so I'm going to dive right into the information in just a second. So this information is for all of you digital immigrants out there. You know who you are. We still struggle picking up the right remote control when we're managing our Blu-ray and our high density TV and the Xbox and the Pandora. You've got to figure out in the cable, which remote do you pick up to do what. So I'm talking to you, digital immigrants, and I need you to know that I'm a really very casual person. I consider myself the Rachel Ray of tech coaching. So let's dive in. This presentation that I wanted to touch base on has to do with brainstorming, assessing where you are, and creating a technology plan for your boutique business. So my story, really, here are the quick highlights. You can read this at your leisure. I'm the founder of Tech Talk Cafe and Cafe.com. My other hat I wear is as an executive director of a nonprofit organization, and I am also a beekeeper. I'm the former publicity and marketing manager for a major publisher in New York City, and I also have political experience working as an organizer and campaign staffer for one of our United States senators, Senator Bernie Sanders, when I lived in Vermont. So lots of life, lots of good stuff happening for me. But in 2008, I became a refugee from the recession, and it wasn't fun. And I'm still working to reinvent myself after getting swept off the playing board in a cascading series of events that really began when Amazon took over the book publishing world and rearranged that deck. So here's a little bit more information about who I am. This is about who needs this information. It's not just for boomers. There are lots of people. I know in Philadelphia we have a lot of young people who for one reason or another they don't have their tech on. And if you don't have these skills together, not only will you not be able to run an online business and miss out on internet opportunities, but you might have a lot of difficulty just getting a job that's going to pay the rent. So I am all about keeping my community up to speed, especially my boomer community. We can't afford to fall behind. We've got to get on board and we've got to go for it. I was just talking to a friend of mine and I was saying, really, it's all about the time snapshot. And my grandparents would talk about that $5 cup of coffee, and I'm talking to you now that soon that cup of coffee, before you know it, is going to cost $7. And where are you going to be, and in what position are you going to be financially when that moment comes? Because there will be a time, who knows, maybe it's 5 years down the road, maybe it's sooner than that, maybe it's a little bit longer than that, but that cup of Starbucks is going to run you $7. And it'll be relative, so the people who are in the economy at that level aren't going to feel that pain, but you might be. So why are you looking at this webinar? And this was originally presented as a live call. Well, why were people on this call, and why are you looking at this now? So here are some questions that I have for you that I think you can answer for yourself. I think that you're feeling the need to be doing something. You're not quite sure what your next steps are, but you are thinking that maybe that some activity online in the form of a business might be a next step for you. So if that's you, you're in the right place. So let's define some of our terms, whether you're going on to coach with me or whether you're going to continue on with some of our self-help programs that we offer. Brainstorming creative exercise to stimulate ideas and actions. And that comes from the image of your brain firing up with electricity moving through it when it's on an MRI, on another imaging device. When people are thinking and they're being creative, your brain lights up in a really interesting way that looks a little bit like an electrical storm. So then the next part is assessment, and that's just gathering information so you have a chance to use it and think about it and make some adjustments in what you're doing right now to get where you want to be at the next step and make the changes that you need to make. So our technology and assessment plan is something that you want to think about doing and getting really familiar with the 5 functional clusters you need to take care of your business. And I do have a link on this slide to Cafe.com has a tech assessment that you can take from our website. And then what's a boutique business? I consider that a niche or specialty business that is run by a solopreneur who is always wearing more than one hat in the startup phase of that kind of a business. So now let's get into the meat of this. So here are a couple of questions. What is your website's purpose? If you're just starting out and you're thinking about revising, revamping, or just creating your website, you have to know what your website is going to do to determine the kind of website you want to build. Are you going to sell specific products? Are you getting involved in multi-level marketing? Are you going to sell live workshops and events, retreats? Are you promoting a book that you're writing, a CD or DVD, or all of those things together? Are you providing coaching or other professional services such as massage or acupuncture or therapy? And are you building a community or a social movement where you live that really needs to go global, where you know that your tribe is all over the world, it's not just in your neighborhood? Or are you working on personal growth, wonderful opportunities in terms of how the world is changing and how we make discoveries through travel? And what is going on with the quality of our relationships? You may be involved in any one of these specialty businesses, and if so, you're probably going to need a website, but you need to know what you're going to want your website to do. So the next thing you've got to think about is, what is your domain name? Well, I think your domain name should reflect the gifts that you want to share with the other people that you are going to try to reach by creating an online presence. So what is your reason for being? What is your why? I'd like you to name 3 unique gifts that you are already expressing in your life or that you know you want to express. And then I want you to answer this question. What is the spiritual question to which your life and your life alone is the answer? Now, the next thing is, what are you offering? So what is your reason for going into business online? Now name 3 unique benefits of your intended business, and then be able to make a clear statement about what problem does your potential customer have that you can help them solve. So let's be clear that your gifts are not your offering. They're different things. But your chosen domain name should communicate the essence of your offering. And your chosen domain name should create the essence of you, your personality, how you fly your freak flag in life. And then people exchange money for solutions to problems first. They pay for opportunities for transformation secondly. And so unless you have set up a mystery school online, you need to keep the first point in mind. So here's another thing. The people I work with, we're all part of the new paradigm. We're all very much aware that we have a spiritual connection in our lives, and we feel it and we know it and we are guided by it. And it's not a religious thing. It's a life thing. So here are some moments, me to you, about the life thing. So your soul is not for sale. And if you can't distinguish between your gifts, which are the spiritual expression of who you are, and your soul in your life on planet Earth, and your offer, which are the gifts that you channel into a value expression for which money energy can be exchanged, you may be sabotaging yourself financially. And you don't even know why you're doing this. It's just not working for you. And if we were to dig a little deeper, if I were coaching you, you might really bump into the fact that you're in conflict because you, at a spiritual level, know that you are not for sale and that your soul is not for sale. And you don't want to have any part of being in a business culture where the economy is based on souls being for sale, which is pretty much where the United States of America is right now and the rest of the developed world. It's a problem. It's a conflict you're going to have to solve to be successful in business in terms of making a profit, which means bringing more in than you're paying out. You can decide what percentage of profit you want to have, and it can be modest, and it doesn't have to take you out of your life of voluntary simplicity. That's the kind of life I live, but you do need to make a profit. So, your domain name. Look at this slide, think about it. Domain names can be really kind of catchy, or they can be crazy, utter nonsense like Google. Here's some examples of some domain names we probably know. So now that we're on the same page, you've got to figure out what you're going to use your domain for, and how many degrees of separation do you want between your name and your domain and your product? Well, some people are branding themselves, and that's just fine. Then you want to think about, well, website. Is my website going to be an interactive blog with all the bells and whistles and videos and ads? Or is it going to be a very clean message with few distractions? Or is my domain going to be used only for landing pages? Is my domain going to involve blogging and marketing but not much personal interaction? Am I going to be selling real products or digital information? Am I going to be selling real services or services that can really happen online, such as your email service provider? That is a totally online, very important product service, and you never touch it, and we really don't know how we would do without it, although my son assures me anymore that none of the younger people are using email. It's all happening as a text message or a tweet, so there will be more webinars. Are you teaching or coaching? Are you simply in it for news and entertainment? Or are you in it for investment purposes, such as buying and selling domain names, websites, or Bitcoin? Okay, so you've got to figure that stuff out, and I'm just here to point out to you that you need to figure it out. So here's some more information about what to do if you are going to sell your name and yourself and your face as your brand. And here's some things to do now as we do a brainstorming session. So take a pad and pen and just keep it close at hand. You don't have to do anything with it yet. And then just close your eyes and take a deep breath. And relax a little bit, feel your tootsies. Get yourself out of your head, feel your whole body. And I invite you into that happy, excited yet calm place that we feel when we're smiling. And then I want you to imagine that you're about to open the door into a room where your future clients and customers are waiting for you to help them find the solution to a problem that they have. So feel your hand on that doorknob, and then open your inner eyes and look up and see if there is a name on your door. And if there is, just take a moment to write this down. And if there isn't, don't worry about it. This is a waking imagination exercise, and you'll trigger something in terms of a process for you, a creative process for you, and this will jump up at you later when you're washing the dishes or taking a shower. It'll suddenly kind of make sense. So the next exercise is just to feel into a different kind of quality around your business and where your business is coming from in terms of your intention. And so I invite you to just simply think about, as a playful exercise, as if you were a kid with a coloring book and there was a blank page and you were going to make a picture of your domain. What would your domain, what would the colors be? And what would the color be of your customer's problem? And what color would you pull out of the crayon box for the solution to that problem? And what colors would you use to represent the exchange of energy from going from problem to solution? And what colors will you use for your website and logo color schemes? Well, write these colors down You can always change them later. And I actually really do think this is a wonderful experiment to do. Take a blank piece of paper, give yourself some time and space, and just play. And as you're thinking about what you want to do and what you want to create in the world, just let yourself reach for the colors in your paint box or your crayon box and create something that will inform you what your branding might want to look like. So here are the 5 key technical functional clusters that we really do have to understand, and we need to know how these things work together and integrate in order for us to be successful with our online businesses. So the first functional cluster is your domain name, your hosting, your website, and your SEO options that go along with all of that information, such as making sure your domain, once you set it up, and your blog application is installed or your site application is up, that you go to Google's Webmaster Tools and you register that site if you want to have any traffic and know what your traffic's going on. You also have to get a Google Analytics key, but that's another webinar. Now, after that comes your email provider, how you're going to build your lists, your landing pages and how they interact with these things, and your autoresponders. The third thing on our list is content creation and delivery. And that's a webinar in itself too. But you need to start thinking about, well, I'm going to open up my website. What are my first 3 posts going to be about, or the first 3 things or 5 things I want to put up on that website? What are the names going to be on my tabs? And again, it doesn't hurt to take a scratch piece of paper and play with what you want your site to look like and how you want to organize it. Then we move on to marketing and sales and your social media options, and there are a ton of them these days. That is another whole universe, and of course it's another webinar, which you'll see up on this site. And then you move into payment integrations, JVs, and affiliates, and that's whether you want to be an affiliate or whether you want to have affiliates for some product or program that you're offering, or you're growing a multi-level marketing business and you're going to have some people coming under your supervision, and how are you going to set up an online relationship with them that's really going to make everyone successful. Now, we haven't gotten into the customer service area issue yet because that may not be something that everyone has to deal with, but I will have a webinar or some helpful information up on my site about how to approach customer service and how to make sure that you get the help that you need. And there are companies like Zendesk and other companies that will help you take care of support tickets and things like that if your online business requires that kind of attention. So I do want you to take our startup tech assessment. Go to Cafe.com. Right on our homepage, there's a link to taking our technology assessment, and that will be good information for you to sort out what you know and what you don't know, and where you need to grow and know. And there's no shame in not knowing what we don't know. My whole basis for this business is that nobody ever learned to drive a car by themselves. We all had to have help for that. Well, I want to tell you that navigating this superhighway of information is a lot like getting into a Ferrari, and you really want to have some help about how you're going to get into your vehicle and drive at lightning speed in this sort of global whirl of activity that's going on right now. You would never expect to get into an automobile and drive it without having any instruction at all on where things go and how the pedals work. So don't expect that from yourself when it comes to an online business and mastering the technology. Just get your tech on, don't be shy about it, and don't be afraid to ask for help. But not from your kids and not from your grandkids, because they're not going to help you. They are too busy tweeting and texting and pinning things and Google Plusing, and they really don't want to take the time to explain things to you. It's like them having to explain to someone what water is. Can you imagine how difficult that would be, and why you really wouldn't want to waste that time, and why you can't imagine who someone who is taking a bath or standing in the rain or washing dishes doesn't quite get what water is? We are in this environment, we're all around it, we're embedded in it, and so don't expect people who were born swimmers to tell you, how to stick your toes in the water and begin to navigate the pool. All right, I think that is going to take us, yes. So I do have a Digital Dazzle boot camp, and in the first week we get organized and look at what your technology needs are, and we get you working on your own plan. And I would love to have you do a coaching program with me. We do have our Digital Dazzle Learner's Permanent Package, which kind of gets you started with a couple of teleseminars that go into much more detail. And that's about it. I don't want to get you too far into the process, but I just talked about a driver's license and driver's ed. So one of our core trainings is really going from being a digital immigrant to getting what I call your digital driver's license. And then we have our boot camp level, which is a 6 weeks program where 4 of it is just getting you familiar with those 5 technical clusters and learning how all those working pieces move together and how you need to sort of develop some new brain synapses to think about them in a coherent way. And then 2 weeks of practice and feedback on what you're doing and how you're doing and what you've created. And then there is the Digital Divide Bootcamp VIP program where I work with people one-on-one and they get a lot of my time and attention, and I can even help them with projects. They do have a team of people, people who build websites and who can do virtual assistance work. And I am so excited to say that I have the Tech Talk Cafe co-op where those of us who are working in these areas together and are forming a community are really building a community around sharing technical resources, and I am so excited by this. Okay, so that is pretty much it for, there I am, I'm back, and I'm really just back to say goodbye. I'm gonna go have a cup of tea. I'm gonna get some more work done on this very lovely weekend afternoon while it's quiet. And I want to thank you for tuning into this information, and be sure to take a good look around our resources, Cafe.com, webinars at Tech Talk Co-op, and techtalkcoop.com. Lots of good stuff for you. So get your tech on, and don't be shy and waving your hand, and I hope I get to do some coaching with you. All right.